Abraham's sacrifice. It happened some later that God put Abraham to the test. Abraham, Abraham, he called. Here I am, he replied. God said, take your son, your only son, your beloved Isaac, and go to the land of Moriah, where you are to offer him as a burnt offering on one of the mountains which I'll point out to you. Early next morning, Abraham saddled his donkey and took with him two of his servants and his son Isaac. He chopped wood for the burnt offering and started on his journey to take to the place which God had indicated to him. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. Then Abraham said to his servants, stay here with the donkey. The boy and I are going over there. We shall worship and then come back to you. Abraham took the wood for the burnt offering, loaded it on Isaac, and carried in his own hands the fire and the knife. Then the two of them set out together. Isaac spoke to his father Abraham. Father, he said. Yes, my son. Look, he said, here are the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham replied, my son, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering. And the two of them went on together. When they arrived at the place which God had indicated to him, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood. Then he bound his son and put him on the altar on top of the wood. Abraham stretched out his hand and took the knife to kill his son. But the angel of Yahweh called to him from heaven. Abraham, Abraham, he said. Here I am, he replied. Do not raise your hand against the boy. The angel said, do not harm him, for I know now now I know you fear God. You have not refused me, your own beloved son. Then looking up, Abraham saw a ram caught by its horns in a bush. Abraham took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering in place of his son. Abraham called this place Yahweh provides, and hence the saying today, on the mountain Yahweh provides. The angel of Yahweh called Abraham a second time from heaven. I swear by my own self, Yahweh declares, that because you have done this, because you have not refused me, your own beloved son, I will shower blessings on you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven and the grains of sand on the seashore. Your descendants will gain possessions of the gates of their enemies. All nations on earth will bless themselves by your descendants, because ye have obeyed my command. Abraham went back to his servants, and together they set out for Beersheba. And Abraham settled in Beersheba. The descendants of Nahor. It happened some time later that Abraham received word that Milcah too had newborn sons to his brother Nahor. Uz, his firstborn, Buz, his brother, Kumuel, father of Aram, Chesed, Hazel, Pildash, Didlap, Bethuel, and Bethuel was the father of Rebekah. These were the 8 children Milcah gave Nahor, Abraham's brother. He had concubine named Reumah, and she too had children, Teba, Gaham, Tahash, and Makkah. The tombs of the patriarchs. The length of Sarah's life was 127 years. She died at Kiriath Arba, now Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham proceeded to mourn and bewail her. Then rising from his dead, Abraham spoke to the Hittites. I am a stranger resident here, he said. Let me have a burial site of my own here, so that I can remove my dead for burial. The Hittites replied to Abraham, please listen to us, my lord. We regard you as a prince of God. Bury your dead in the best of our tombs. Not one of us would refuse you his tomb for you to bury your dead. At this time, Abraham rose and bowed low to the local people, the Hittites, and pleaded with them as follows. If you consent to removing my dead for burial, you must agree to intercede with me, with Ephron, son of Zohar, for him to let me have the cave he owns at Machpelah, which is on the edge of his field. Let him sell it to me in your presence at its full price for a burial site of my own. Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, of all the inhabitants of this town. No, my lord, listen to me. I give you the field and the cave in it. I make this gift in the presence of my kinsmen. Bury your dead. Abraham bowed low to the local people, and in the hearing of the local people, replied to Ephron as follows: Be good enough to listen to me. I will pay the price of the field. Accept it for me, and I will bury my dead there. Ephron replied to Abraham, Please listen to me, my lord. What is a plot of land for 400 shekels of silver between me and you? Bury your dead. Abraham agreed to Ephron's terms, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver he had stipulated in the hearing of the Hittites, namely 400 shekels of silver according to the current commercial rate. Thus, Ephron's field at Machpelah facing Mamre, the field and the cave in it, and all the trees anywhere within the boundaries of the field, passed into Abraham's possession in the sight of Hittites, of all the inhabitants of his town. And after this, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of the field of Machpelah, facing Mamre, now Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And so the field and the cave in it passed from the Hittites into Abraham's possession as a burial site of his own. The marriage of Isaac. By now Abraham was an old man, well on in years, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in every way. Abraham said to the senior servant in his household, the steward of all his property, Place your hand under my thigh. I am going to make you swear by Yahweh, God of heaven, God of earth, that you will not choose a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I live, but will go to my native land and my own kinsfolk to choose a wife for Isaac. The servant asked him, What if the girl does not follow me to this country? Should I take your son back to the country from which you come? Abraham replied, On no account are you to take my son back there. Yahweh, God of heaven and God of earth, who took me from my father's home and from the land of my kinsfolk, and who promised me oath, I shall give this country to your descendants. He will now send his angel ahead of you so that you can get away from my son from there. If then the girl refuses to follow you, you will be quit of this oath to me. Only do not take my son back there. And the servant placed his hand under the thigh of his master Abraham and swore to him that he would do it. The servant took 10 of his master's camels, carrying all kinds of gifts from his master, set out for the city of Nahor in Aram Naharaim. In the evening, at the time when women come out to draw water, he made the camels kneel outside the town near the well. And he said, Yahweh, God of my master Abraham, give me success today and show faithful love to my master Abraham. While I stand by the spring as the young women from the town come out to draw water, I shall say to one of the girls, Please lower your pitcher and let me drink. And if she answers, Drink, and I will water your camels too. Let her be the one you have decreed for your servant Isaac. By this I shall know you have shown faithful love to my master. He had not finished speaking when out came Rebekah, who was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Milcah, the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor, with a pitcher on her shoulder. The girl was very beautiful and a virgin. No man had touched her. She went down to the spring, filled her pitcher, and came up again. Running towards her, the servant said, Please give me a sip of your water from your pitcher. She replied, Drink, my lord, and quickly lowered her pitcher on her arm and gave him a drink. When she had finished letting him drink, she said, I will draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough. She quickly emptied her pitcher into the trough and ran to the well again to draw, and drew for all the camels. All the while the man stood watching her, not daring to speak, wondering whether Yahweh made his journey successful or not. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing half a shekel and put it through her nose, and put two bracelets weighing 10 gold shekels on her arm, and said, Whose daughter are you? Please tell me. Is there room at your father's house for us to spend the night? She replied, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son whom Milcah bore to Nahor. And she went on, We have plenty of straw and fodder, and a room to spend the night. Then the man bowed down and worshipped Yahweh, saying, Blessed be Yahweh, God of my master Abraham, for not withholding his faithful love for my master, from my master. Yahweh has led me straight to the house of my master's brother. The girl ran to her mother's house to tell what had happened. Now Rebekah had a brother called Laban, and Laban ran out to the man at the spring. As soon as he seen the ring and bracelets his sister was wearing and had heard his sister Rebekah saying, This is what the man said to me, he went to the man and found him still standing by his camels at the spring. He said to him, Come in, blessed of Yahweh. Why stay out there when I have cleared the house and made room for the camels? The man went to the house, and Laban unloaded the camels. He provided straw and fodder for the camels, and water for him and his companions to wash their feet. They offered him food, but he said, I will eat nothing before I have said what I have to say. Laban said, Speak. He said, I am Abraham's servant. Yahweh has loaded my master with blessings, and Abraham is now very rich. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, men and women slaves, camels and donkeys. Sarah, my master's wife, bore my master a son in his old age, and has made over all his property to him. My master made me take this oath. You are not to choose a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whose country I live. Instead, you are to go to my father's home and to my own kinsfolk to choose a wife for my son. I said to my master, Suppose the girl would not agree to come with me. And his reply was, Yahweh, in whose presence I have walked, will send his angel with you and make your journey successful for you to choose a wife for my son, from my own kinsfolk, from my father's house. Then you will be quit of my curse. If you go to my family and they refuse you, you will be quit of my curse. Arriving today at the spring, I said, Yahweh, God of my master Abraham, please grant a successful outcome to the course I propose to take. While I stand by the spring, if a girl comes out to draw water and I say to her, Please give me a little water to drink from your pitcher, and she replies, Drink by all means, and I will draw water for your camels too. Let her be the girl whom Yahweh has decreed for my master's son. I was still saying this in my mind when Rebekah came out, her pitcher on her shoulder. She came down to the spring and drew water. I said to her, Please give me a drink. Quickly, she lowered her pitcher, saying, Drink, and I will water your camels too. I asked her, Whose daughter are you? She replied, I am the daughter of Bethuel, whom Milcah bore to Nahor. Then I put this ring through her nose and these bracelets on her arms. I bowed down and worshipped Yahweh, and I blessed Yahweh, God of my master Abraham, who had led me by a direct path to choose the daughter of my master's brother for his son. Now tell me whether you are prepared to show constant and faithful love to my master. If not, say so, and I shall know what to do. Laban and Bethuel replied, This is from Yahweh. It is not for us to say yes or no to you. Rebekah is there before you. Take her and go, and let her become the wife of your master's son, as Yahweh has decreed. On hearing this, Abraham's servant bowed to the ground before Yahweh. He brought out silver and gold ornaments and clothes which he gave to Rebekah. He also gave rich presents to her brother and to her mother. They ate and drank. He and his companions spent the night there. Next morning, when they were up, he said, Let me go back to my master. Rebekah's brother and mother replied, Let the girl stay with us for 10 days or so, then she can go. But he replied, Do not delay me. Since Yahweh has made my journey successful, let me leave and go back to my master. They replied, Let us call the girl and find out what she has to say. They called Rebekah and asked her, Will you go with this man? She replied, I will. Accordingly, they let their sister Rebekah go with her nurse and Abraham's servant and his men. They blessed Rebekah and said to her, Sister of ours, from you may there spring thousands and tens of thousands. May your descendants gain possession of the gates of their enemies. And forthwith Rebekah and her maids mounted the camels and followed the man. The servant took Rebekah and departed. Isaac, meanwhile, had come back from the well of Lahai and was living in the Negev. While Isaac was out walking towards evening in the fields, he looked up and saw camels approaching. And Rebekah looked up and saw Isaac. She jumped down from her camel and asked the servant, "Who is that man walking through the fields towards us?" The servant replied, "That is my master." So she took her veil and covered herself up. The servant told Isaac the whole story. Then Isaac took her into his tent. He married Rebekah and made her his wife. And in his love for her, Isaac was consoled for the loss of his mother. The descendants of Keturah. Abraham married another wife whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Simran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan was the father of Sheba and Dedan, and the descendants of Dedan were the Azurites, the Letushim, and Lomimim. The descendants of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanak, Epida, and Eldah. All these were sons of Keturah. Abraham left all his possessions to Isaac. To the sons of his concubines, Abraham made grants during his lifetime, sending them away from his son Isaac eastward to the land of the east. The death of Abraham. The number of years Abraham lived was 125. When Abraham had breathed, breathed his last, dying at a happy, ripe age, old and full of years, when he gathered to his people. His son Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah, facing Mamre, in the field of Ephron the Hittite, son of Zohar. Was the field that Abraham had bought from the Hittites, and Abraham and his wife Sarah were buried there. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac. Isaac settled near the well of Lahabroi. The descendants of Ishmael. These are the descendants of Ishmael, son of Abraham, by Hagar, Sarah's Egyptian slave girl. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael by the name and line. Ishmael's firstborn was Nebaioth, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Duma, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Ketur, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, according to their settlements and encampments. 12 chiefs of as many tribes. The number of years Ishmael lived was 137 when he breathed his last and died. He was gathered to his people. He lived in the territory stretching from Havilah by Shur, just outside Egypt on the way to Assyria, and he held his own against all his kinsmen. The story of Isaac and Jacob. The birth of Esau and Jacob. This is the story of Isaac, son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Armenian of Padan Aram, and sister of Laban the Armenian. Mayan. Isaac prayed to Yahweh on behalf of his wife, for she was barren. Yahweh heard his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struggled so much that she said, "Is this the way of it? Why go on living?" She went to consult Yahweh, and Yahweh said to her, "There are two nations in your womb. Your issue will be two rival peoples. One nation will have the master of the other, and the elder will serve the younger." When the time came for her confinement, there were indeed twins in her womb. The first to be born was red, altogether like a hairy cloak, so they named him Esau. Then his brother was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel. so they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old at the time of their birth. When the boys grew up, Esau became a skilled hunter and man of the open country. Jacob, on the other hand, was a quiet man, staying at home among the tents. Isaac preferred Esau, for he had a taste for wild game, but Rebekah preferred Jacob. Esau gives up his birthright. Once, when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau returned from the countryside exhausted. Esau said to Jacob, "Give me a mouthful of that red stuff there. I am exhausted." Hence the name given to him, Edom. Jacob said, "First, give me your birthright in exchange." Esau said, "Here I am at death's door. What use is a birthright to me?" Then Jacob said, "First, give me your oath." He gave him his oath and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave him some bread and lentil stew. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. That was all Esau cared about his birthright. Isaac at Gerar. There was a famine in the country, different from the previous famine, which took place in the name of Abraham, and Isaac went to Abimelech, the Philistine king of Gerar. Yahweh had prepared to him and said, "Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the country which I shall point out to you. Remain for the present in that country. I shall be with you and bless you. For I shall give all these countries to you and your descendants in fulfillment of the oath I swear to your father Abraham. I shall make your descendants as numerous as the stars of heaven, and I shall give him all these countries, and all nations on earth will bless themselves by your descendants. In return for Abraham's obedience, for he kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws." So Isaac stayed at Gerar. When the people of the place asked about him and his wife, he replied, "She is my sister," for he was afraid to say, "She is my wife," thinking, "The people of this place will kill me because of Rebekah, since she is beautiful." When he had been there some time, Abimelech the Philistine king happened to look out the window and saw Isaac fondling his wife Rebekah. Abimelech summoned Isaac and said to him, "Surely she must be your wife. How could you have said she is my sister?" Isaac replied, "Because I thought I might be killed on her account." Abimelech said, "What a thing to do to us! One of the people might easily have slept with your wife. We should we should have incurred guilt thanks to you." Then Abimelech issued this order to all the people: "Whoever touches this man or his wife will be put to death." Isaac sowed his crops in that country, and that year he reaped 100-fold. Yahweh blessed him, and the man became rich. He prospered more and more until he was very rich indeed. He acquired flocks and herds and a large red tunu. The Philistines began to envy him. The wells between Gerar and Beersheba. The Philistines had blocked up all the wells dug up by his father's servants in the days of his father Abraham, filling them in with earth. Then Abimelech said to Isaac, "You must leave us, for you have become too much powerful than we are." So Isaac left. He pitched camp in the valley of Gerar, and there he stayed. Isaac reopened the wells dug by the servants of his father Abraham and blocked up by the Philistines after Abraham's death, and he gave them the same names as his father had given them. But when Isaac's servants, digging in the valley, found a well of spring water there, the herdsmen of Gerar disputed it with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "That water is ours." So Isaac named the well Esek, because they had disputed with him. They dug another well, and there was a dispute over that one too. So he named it Sitnah. Then he left there, and dug another well. Since there was no dispute over this one, he named it Rehoboth, saying, "Now Yahweh has made room for us to thrive in the country." From there he went up to Beersheba. Yahweh appeared to him on the same night and said, "I am the God of your father Abraham. Do not be afraid, for I am with you. I shall bless you and multiply your offspring for my servant Abraham's sake." There he built an altar and invoked the name of Yahweh. There he pitched his tent, and there Isaac's servants sank a well. The alliance with Abimelech. Abimelech came from Gerar to see him, with Hazath and his advisor Phicol, the commander of his army. Isaac said to them, "Why do you come to me since you hate me and have made me leave you?" It became clear to us that Yahweh was with you, they replied. And so we thought it is time to have a treaty sworn between us and you. So let us make a covenant with you, that you will not do us any harm, since we never molested you, but were unfailingly kind to you and let you go away in peace. Henceforth, Yahweh's blessing on you. He made them a feast, and they ate and drank. Early next morning they exchanged oaths. Then Isaac bade them farewell, and they left him as friends. It happened the same day that Isaac's servants brought him news about the well they had been digging. "We have found water," they said to him. So he called the well Sheba, and hence the town is named Beersheba to this day. The Hittite wives Esau. When Esau was 40 years old, he married Judith, daughter of Beeri the Hittite, and Basemath, daughter of Elon the Hittite. These were a bitter disappointment to Isaac and Rebekah. Jacob obtained Isaac's blessing by fraud. When Isaac had grown old and his eyes were so weak that he could no longer see, he summoned his elder son Esau. "Son," he said, and Esau replied, "Here I am." He then said, "Look, I am old and do not know when I may die. Now take your weapons, your quiver and bow, go into the country and hunt me some game. Make me the most appetizing dish I like and bring it to me to eat, and I shall give you my special blessing before I die." Rebekah was listening while Isaac was talking to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the country to hunt game for his father, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "I have heard your father saying to your brother Esau, 'Bring me some game and make me an appetizing dish for me to eat, and then I shall bless you in Yahweh's presence before I die.' Now, son, listen to me and do as I tell you. Go to the flock and bring me two good kids, so that I can make a special kind of dish your father likes. Then take it to your father for him to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies." Jacob said to his mother Rebekah, "Look, my brother Esau is hairy, while I am smooth skinned. If my father happens to touch me, he will see I am cheating him, and I shall bring a curse down on myself instead of a blessing." But his mother replied, "On me be the curse, my son. Just listen to me and go fetch the kids." So he went to fetch them and brought them to his mother, and she made the kind of special dish his father liked. Rebekah took her elder son Esau's clothes, which she had at home, and dressed her younger son Jacob in them, covering his arms and the smooth part of his neck with the skins of the kids. She then handed the special dish and the bread she made to her son Jacob. He went to his father and said, "Father." "Yes," he replied. "Which of my sons are you?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Saul, your firstborn. I have done as you have told me. Please sit up and eat some of the game I have brought, and then give me your soul's blessing." Isaac said to his son, "Son, how did you succeed so quickly?" He replied, "Because Yahweh, your God, made things go well for me." Isaac said to Jacob, "Come closer, son, so that I can feel you and be sure whether you're really my son Esau or not." Jacob went closer to his father, who felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the arms are the arms of Esau." He did not recognize him, since his arms were hairy like his brother Esau's, and so he blessed him. And he said, "Are you really my son Esau?" And he replied, "I am. Serve it to me, so that I can eat my son's game and give you my special blessing." He served it to him, and he ate. He offered him wine, and he drank. His father Isaac said to him, "Come closer and kiss me, son." He went closer and kissed his father, who sniffed the smell of his clothes. Then he blessed him, saying, "Ah, the smell of my son is the smell of a fertile field which Yahweh has blessed. May God give you dew from the heaven and the richness of the earth, abundance of grain and wine. Let peoples serve you and nations bow low before you. Be master of your brothers. Let your brothers' other sons bow low before you. Accursed be whoever curses you, and blessed be whoever blesses you. As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, and just as Jacob was leaving his father Isaac, his brother Esau had returned from hunting. He too made an appetizing dish and brought it to his father. Father, please eat some of your son's game and then give me your special blessing. His father Isaac asked, "Who are you?" "I am your first son Esau," he replied. At this, Isaac was seized with a violent trembling and said, "Who was it then that went hunting and brought me the game? I finished eating it just before you came. I blessed him, and now blessed he will remain." On hearing his father's words, Esau cried out and bitterly said to his father, "Father, bless me too." But he replied, "Your brother came by fraud and took your blessing." Esau said, "His name should be Jacob, right enough, for he has supplanted me twice. First he took my birthright, and look, now he has gone and taken my blessing. But," he added, "have you not kept a blessing for me?" Isaac replied to Esau, "I have already made him your master. I have given him all his brothers as servants. I have given him grain and wine to sustain him. What can I do for you, son?" Esau said to his father, "Can you bless only once, father?" "Father, bless me too." Isaac remained silent, and Esau began to weep aloud. Then his father Isaac spoke again and said, "Far from the richness of this earth and the dew of the heaven above, your home will be. By your sword you will live, and your brother you will serve. Will you serve? But when you win your freedom, you will shake his yoke off your neck." Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing his father had given him, and Esau said to himself, "The time to mourn for my father will soon be here. Then I shall kill my brother Jacob." When the words of Esau, her elder son, were repeated to Rebekah, she sent her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Look, your brother Esau means to take revenge and kill you. Now listen, now son, listen. Go at once and take refuge with my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him a while until your brother's fury cools, until your brother's ankle is divided from you, and he forgets what you have done to him. Then I shall send someone to bring you back. I do not want you to lose you both on one day." Isaac sends Jacob to Laban. Rebekah said to Isaac, "The Hittite women sicken me to death. If Jacob were to marry a Hittite woman like one of these local women, what would there be left in life for me?"